clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough Heshy takes flight. Woo! Laughs and wisdom side by side. Heshy show won't be denied. Tune in live and ride the tide. Feel the rush and feel the pride. It's just enough Heshy. Wanna vote for Heshy? It's just enough Heshy. Join the crowd, it's messy.
Welcome, everybody.
You were caught.
Hello,
You were caught.
What are you caught? You always. I saw you trying to beat me.
Because you were waiting. I saw you there with the music.
I'm trying to be on cue here.
No, you weren't.
He moved it again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. By the way, I went to a wedding yesterday.
What a surprise.
And everybody, I figured, now that I'm not in the spotlight anymore,
Yeah.
there's no election.
Oh, you're always in the spotlight. Come on, don't say that.
Men and women and young ladies are coming over to me taking pictures.
Autographs, I know.
She says, yeah, you're from the Just Enough Heshy show. I thought they know me as a politician, but some people actually
You have
like
100,000
my show.
listeners. They know you more from the show than politics.
Right, I guess so, plus, but we have a lot to
Remember, you're also heard in Miami, New Jersey, so you don't get to vote,
Well, I do help a lot of people out,
do.
and I even helping my competitors out for the races, and, they don't want to pay.
I know the feeling. I was at a wake on Sunday, and I kid you not, I knew almost every person at the wake.
Well, they didn't invite me to they made an executive committee meeting on a Friday night.
Which I told you they're going to do on purpose.
But they only had then they made another executive committee Monday. They didn't tell me about it, but then I found out about it.
On purpose.
And I ran over there. Wasn't even a lot of people there. And then the chairman let me speak. And
he let you
pitch.
speak.
And then I see that then you have to walk out. They're voting. They're not voting. This is a game, even with the new people there.
It is a game.
And
They're the same people. They've been around.
Waste my time. The problem is how many people. And then I met with the local leaders of the community, and they said, "Well, not that I'm crazy. They're now calling me controversial. That's better." Better than crazy, no?
Yeah, well, they've said, in the past that, you don't get along with everybody.
I get along with everybody.
You're a troublemaker. They've said in the remember the lines. You're a troublemaker. You were a rebel rouser. They've said in the past.
Yeah. Well, we want to welcome temporarily our YouTube and Facebook and Instagram listeners.
A lot of people here in the chat. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for coming to the show.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about Venezuela.
Oh my God, a lot to talk about there.
We're going to talk about
Iran. You got to talk about Iran.
I want to talk about the Somalian. Nobody's bringing that really up. It was a little bit in the news of all the billions of dollars that were stolen. When do we get that money back?
That's a great question. Never.
I know. I got that.
Never.
We just have
it's the honest answer.
I know. It just keeps getting worse and worse.
No, it's getting worse. I mean,
and nobody stops it. All we're busy is stop Trump from going to war. He didn't do any war issues. You know what I mean? We're so busy with stupidity, and we're going to talk about.
Mark Levin always says philosophy of the stupid. I listened to Mark Levin before I came here.
I went to a Saturday night event at the city with Zev Brenner.
Okay.
And Mark Levin, the controller, what's his name?
Mark Levine. Levine. We wish we had Mark Levin there. Mark Levine, unfortunately, is way off the cliff.
He came over to me. He said, "Oh, hi, Heshy." I said, "You know me?" He says, "Yeah, who doesn't know you?" That was interesting,
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Politicians.
Yep, absolutely.
We're also going to, of course, have my quote and joke of the day.
Yes.
I'm hoping the producer listens.
I heard he was telling me before we went on the air that he is very, very excited about your joke of the week.
I'm
very
also
excited.
Planning a trip now for Israel to go there.
Yes, Hungary you mentioned too,
I
right?
wanted to go to Hungary to stop off, but I don't think Linda can do all of that. I'm only going to visit Linda's mother's 1-year anniversary
I know. Coming up already. I remember yesterday I was there. And you spoke. You weren't like on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like you were just different. I mean, people were even saying that when you spoke. I mean, I'm not saying you should go and morph into that the entire time, but I do want to introduce our radio audience on the Talkline Radio Network. Thank you for being here this week, and especially leading things off for us, the legendary rock and roll radio station 102.7 FM WNEW. Once upon a time, it was that. Our flagship WSNR 620, and where Heshy always wishes he would like to be, and where Governor Cuomo probably is right now, WJPR 1640 AM. And I am Tom, and Heshy, we're here with the Just Enough Heshy Show. And give us a call, by the way, 646-974-1580. 646-974-1580.
I've spoken at a lot of funerals.
Yes.
It's a shame,
I know.
My friends, family members.
I was at one for a lady who was 98 on Sunday, by the way. 98.
So, of course, I'm going to be calmer. And I really make a joke every once in a while. I say something funny. When my brother-in-law passed away, I was up there. I did tell a funny story about him to make people smile, that he was a good man.
Good.
And I told good stuff about people. I always told everybody says I'm calm. At the committee meeting, they were saying, and a lot of the leaders saying, I was saying in the beginning of the show, Heshy, you're not crazy, but you're controversial. You got to toe the line. You got to make deals. And I do make deals. I do compromise. I do change with the times. But here's my problem.
Talk to me.
To do something that's wrong, and that's going to be my quote today. And I want to talk about it.
First, I want to
make some shout outs.
Please.
To Sergeant Peter, Ellie, and of course my beautiful, delicious granddaughter,
Mira Nava, favorite part of the show.
Layla Tamar. Ahuva, who I picked up today from school, so cute. She was crying and freaking out. And once I hand her a lollipop, this little face calms down right away.
Yeah.
But she is learning to say big H.
Okay, all right.
The other one is already well trained. All my grandchildren know how to say big H.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Of course, Benjamin Hill.
Yes.
And my beautiful granddaughter, Yael Miriam.
I'd also like to give a shout out because I'm speaking with, coming up this Friday, once upon a time, the man that was a huge part of Grand Funk Railroad, Mr. Mark Farner. So I'm interviewing Mark Farner, so very excited about that. I got some recognition also in a magazine earlier this week. And
last night I was called on my way home from a new magazine called The Best Magazine. It's written in Yiddish.
Okay.
And they had like an hour and a half interview. And I said, listen, it's late. I got to get home. And they said, we want to buy you a sandwich. Once they told me that, I said, okay, corned beef. And they
What was it, Essen?
It wasn't Essen. They got it at Deli 52. It wasn't that good.
All right.
I was hungry, so I ate it.
All right,
anyways.
so we'll hopefully see that out soon.
I want to give you my quote of the day.
All right, I want to hear it.
Success is the sum of small, persistent efforts day after day. What I value most in my friends is loyalty.
I agree.
And, and I tell that to a lot of my business social and friends. If you're not loyal to I won't be loyal to you, or if you're not honorable, or you make a deal and you can't keep to the deal, and there's always an issue, then I don't need to do business with you.
Yeah.
And, I have, Nachman Kala, my friend, and he's a competitor, whatever.
He's a friend. I think you should loosely say it, friend.
And again, here's a guy who makes a lot of money, wants to help a new synagogue that's being vacated. Yes. And I said, they went to 5 different places. Now you're coming to me, and you don't want to pay me, but you paid out $100,000 to everybody else. I said, but what about the civil penalties that you have to pay the city? I'm not going to lay out money for your penalties. We'll send you some of the money. Try to reduce it. I said, you have 8 days left. You went for a whole year wasting time. Then I had another guy who walked in from the Syrian community that I knew was very close to Mr. Sutton. And he comes to me and says, Heshy, well, we didn't listen to you. And now he has 171,000 in fines. He's in big trouble. He went to 5 different competitors of mine who told him they can't help him. I said, if everybody told you they can't help you, why are you coming to me?
Yeah.
And then he starts saying, maybe you can do a cheaper price, maybe I could pay. I said, understand. You went everywhere else. You went to high-priced people that charge double and triple than me. And me, you're starting to buy.
So here's my line to that. My response is, all these problems, they had an opportunity to help you when you were running for city council. And if you were the councilman, you could have helped him and the rest of the Syrian community and elsewhere much more than what they're getting currently.
Right. Well, anyways, I want to give you my joke.
All right. I want to hear it.
When I picked up my granddaughter Ahuva.
Okay.
And my son told me, Pop, I need you to, we're going to all be in the city, come to the city. I said, I'm not going to take her in the car and drive to the city and not get parking. He says, it was a nice Sunday. He says, come bring her on the train. I said, okay, fine. I packed her up. I go to the train, and I picked her up, and I went on the train, and I sit down next to an old man. And the old man looks at me, and the baby's crying, and I'm giving her a lollipop, and I'm making nice to her, Hoover. And the old man looks at me and says, "Oh, that baby is spoiled." I said, "No, it just needs a diaper change."
It was actually a good one. It was
I had no response. That was,
it was funny.
spoiled.
I laughed. Diaper spoiled. I got it. Dun-dun-dun.
By the way, when I told you that comment last week about all politicians need to be changed.
Yes, I thought that was a great. I think Gary, when he was here, laughed also.
A lot of people called me on it. He says, "You are right. Politicians are like, crap in a diaper. They need to be changed often. But again, we're not doing it.
Well,
when
I would remind you, though, that next year the Brooklyn GOP does have a leadership change that they can change it. They have to elect a new chairperson. That would be a great idea for you.
The point is again, the people, even with the leadership change, the people are not fighting back or talking.
They don't want to fight back. I've been telling you this for a long time.
To the meeting, and I told them they can't do that. I was at the executive meeting, and they didn't tell me about it. Then I went, and then they allowed me to speak, and I said I'll run for state senate. Then at the end, they voted on everybody else but me. And I said, why didn't you vote on me? Well, Nachman Kala might vote. I said, but Nachman Kala lost the last time, and you said you're not going to support him. And then they said, well, we're going to invite Carmen Yeager. I said, but you can't. He's a Democrat. We decided no more Wilson Pakula. But he's done stuff for us. I said, he's done what? Tell me something he's done. He votes our way. I said, he votes the way that it's supposed to be when it's the right way. But most of the time he doesn't vote with us. He goes to the Democratic Party.
Right. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. He's ultimately in a district that should be represented by a Republican. Yeah. He's a Democrat. But what it comes down to is ultimately the certain people in the Republican Party who are basically at the behest of the Conservative Party, who are Kalman Yeager loyalists, do what they're told. And that's what it comes down to. But I told you from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're not right, but they tell me to look for a candidate. We go out to look for a candidate, and then they say, no, we're going to cross-reference. They invite Mr. Feiselberg to come speak.
Right.
He's a guy
Bernard Feiselberg.
Can't even pick up any signatures. The deputy chairman didn't even know they invited him because she's on vacation during executive committee meeting time. So what happened was very simple. I said, why do you even invite him to speak if you're going to nominate me or you want me to run? So again, the truth of the matter is, I'd like to represent the community. I want to help the people out. I want to help out.
But remember this, though. You've run before, and we got on the ballot without the Republican Party. Oh. You've run every time since 2023. And they didn't support you, so nothing changed. To me, nothing changed.
But the problem is to go to a fight and spend all the money and all the time.
Well, that's what happened with you. George Sarantopoulos, who used to be on our show, he went through the same thing. This is what they do.
Last time when I won the line, it was easier to do the campaign at the end. But again,
I mean, look, it's what it is. But I gotta give a shout out to Anthony Fickle because he says he heard that Mamdani took Heshy out for lunch at Eshen's last week. Why would he do that? Funny joke. Yeah, that should have been your joke.
That you should laugh at.
And also, I want to give a shout out to the people here in the chat. Infinite Justice says controversial is code for effective. Yes, that's a good one.
I love you. Yeah,
yes, and also Rachel Bartlett wanted to say, good evening, beautiful people. Infinite Justice wants to do a web series maybe on the show, behind the scenes. And also, Infinite Justice says, Heshy's got to do that Essen cookbook. And also, Avi is here, Shricky Avi, who I haven't seen.
I love Avi. Is one of my clients, very nice.
Yes, he's here. Let's say, how you doing, Avi?
Man, Avi.
Good. And if you're here, by the way,
Avi screwed me. He promised me a sandwich.
Well, I'll tell you what, Avi.
He never brought me that sandwich.
I'll tell you what,
Avi, you owe me a sandwich.
I tell you what I want to plug real quick because I see Avi here in the chat and everybody else. If you are here, even if you subscribed to us, tell your friends and also have them subscribe because Heshy needs more subscribers. So, and also, by the way, I have to give Avi a huge shout out because I just have to give Avi a big shout out. You just got a $50 super chat from him. $50. $50. And he wants to say, yes, I'm here.
I'd rather have the sandwich.
50. Now you got to take him out for a sandwich because he just gave you a $50 super chat. The most I've ever seen for a super chat on my channel has been than $10. You got 50. By the way, if you're out there, hit the sub button for me at SportsWire Radio 6579. So there you go. And yeah, go ahead.
Now, guys, I want to talk to you about something.
Let's talk about it.
Again, loyalty. You stand for a party. You know, when I was standing over there at the committee meeting, I says, you had all your candidates that you supported left you that didn't back Sliwa. They back Cuomo because he couldn't win. You know, when you say something, you're going to stick to something,
right.
Whether he wins or lose. You stick to your commitment. You're right. If it's a losing proposition, then don't get on board to begin with. But once you go and you put all our efforts into it and you make us all look stupid, then you say, we want to back out. I don't deal with you a second time. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I made a mistake even backing Sliwa after he messed me up, but the party asked me to do it.
I know,
so
but
I did it for them.
But helping the party, what has that gotten you since?
Correct.
You know,
again, politics is dirty, and I don't mind the dirtiness of the business. You know, I'm involved now with a nice gentleman, a great broker, real estate broker, and we became good friends.
That's very nice.
We went out to a lunch. I met his mother, real Italian, you know, nice lady, and she wants to cook for me. I said, but you're not kosher. I said, come over to the house. But he's selling me a building, and the man is honorable and loyal, and he talks to you with kindness, and he treats me with respect. That's the way I want to do business. I like people that when people start acting aggressive or not like that, or even my clients, I don't want to do business with you. I'm a kind of guy that likes to be honorable and straight. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's allowed to bargain. Everybody's allowed. But once the deal is made, it's made, you know?
No, absolutely. And also, Superfly is here and says that she still needs that real estate lawyer, especially now with this guy as mayor. Avi says
you're going to need to call Saul Nymark in Queens. He is great. And
now,
by the way,
do we have a phone number?
I mean, if you need a broker, by the way, a real estate broker, this guy is great. Lou Guida. He's just great.
Oh yeah, I know Lou Guida.
He is super. I mean,
Dyke Heights guy.
Yeah.
That guy, 13th Avenue.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I know who guy is.
Wonderful. But I have Sal Nymark's phone number, and if you email me,
Justin F. Heshy, which I'm putting in the chat, by the way, Justin F. Heshy at email.com.
He is my lawyer for real estate, by the way. His number is 718-528-3700.
718. I'm putting it in the chat.
528-3700. He cares. He's experienced 40 years. He's intelligent. He's good looking. He's smart. His wife is a nice lady, and his wife helps young girls get
excellent.
Men, not men, married.
Also, Anthony Finkel has a topic that you and I were talking about off the air. He says he loves this new citizen, Eric Adams. He isn't holding back anymore. So what do you think about that? That's a good point.
Eric Adams was on a plane to Texas, and some lady booed him.
Yes.
Okay? And he then threatened to punch her in the face. I mean, are you crazy, Eric Adams? I get heckled and screamed at all the time.
I get heckled myself.
And you're going to punch him in the face, you know?
Well, I mean, you know, he feels the way he feels. I'm not saying I condone. There was a thing in wrestling this past weekend about that.
You know, and I want to just, while I'm on the Eric Adams things,
yes.
One of Eric Adams's people that work for him.
Yes. A man that is named Tony Herbert. If you were somebody that is in Brooklyn politics, you know him very well.
He's being indicted for corruption for leading government contracts to certain people. Now, you can see that. You can see a lot of these government contracts are one or two contractors all over the city, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That means people are being paid off and the billions of dollars are going to the wrong places, and these guys are getting their little kickback.
Absolutely.
And we all get screwed because we can't do nothing about it.
He was above the law. Absolutely. He was there. And Tony Herbert was a guy that has been around Brooklyn politics for decades. He is a guy who wrote a book. It's funny. He wrote a book years ago about corruption in Brooklyn politics, and yet here it is now. These years later, the tables have turned. Boy, interesting, don't you think?
The big subject of Venezuela and Iran in a minute. But did I tell you about the Mr. Mamdani is so bored he went onto the bridge and started to fill a pothole. I mean, I have you in charge of the city of New York. I understand you have to make an event, but stop it. You just took over the mayor's office. Stop playing the game of politics. You're not running as a politician. Get into the office and get yourself buckled down. But it gets even worse. Now, he says we need more public toilets. So what he did was he assigned $4 million for public toilets around the city of New York. Now, can I ask you a question?
You
remember the new toilets we built here in Borough Park?
Yeah.
You know how much they costed? $2 million.
Yeah, I was going to say. I remember that.
Inflation. So what is he going to build? 4 toilet bowls? 3 toilet bowls?
I was going to say, I mean, so at this point, maybe we should just just put $100 million into the toilet budget, right? Remember, he was going to cut the budget from the NYPD, so I guess since he's taken away from that budget, now we'll get more bathrooms.
Right. And you know, somebody made fun of you. Told me about this, that he went to the assembly.
Yes. So there was an assemblyman who had commented, which I thought was hilarious, said that Mamdani yesterday spent more time in the assembly chamber than he did in his 6 years in office.
He went up there to listen to the governor talk so he could be her friend.
State of the state.
And the problem is he was never in the assembly when he was elected.
That's what he was making the point
now
for.
He's coming there.
And Daniel Sweets here also wants to say hello.
Danny, you know, he's leaving. He keeps going away. He's going on vacation to Colombia. He tells me he's going to marry a nice Colombian Venezuelan chick.
Well, you know, it's funny. You know who did that? You'll never guess. The Macho Man Randy Savage's brother did that. He wound up staying, I think he was in Colombia.
No, but Danny says he's going to be a citizen of Colombia so he can marry her. And he's going to be, Danny does it. He's a white little American boy from Queens, New York. But he's learning Spanish. And now he's doing it. He has those earplugs, you know.
Oh, well, you know, one of our buddies who you know, Joe Roses, is doing the same thing. He's learning Spanish. Every Wednesday night, he learns Spanish.
You should be watching our show, not learning Spanish.
I will let him know that because he should be watching and giving us a call. Which, by the way, if you want to give us a call, 646-974-1580.
And we're going to talk about that stuff, but I want you to know, crime, I was reading this today.
Yes.
The first 2 weeks, crime has increased by 21%.
21.
Okay,
wow.
I mean, I don't even know if
wait till what happens in June.
And remember, it's only 2 weeks. We already have shootings of murders on the street.
Yep.
And then we have 2 cop shootings.
Yes.
Cops shot 2 people.
Right.
And Mamdani, usually when a cop shoots somebody, they were protesting, even if the cops were right. And I'm going to show you why.
Okay.
And now what did Mamdani do? I'm going to tell you what Mamdani said. Nothing. He was quiet. He didn't even say he was disturbed over the shooting.
Well, I mean, sounds to me like a coward, don't you think? Because usually wasn't Mamdani one of the first to lead the charge against the police? And now because he's in a position of power, he doesn't know what to do.
And then now they're protesting in Minnesota. Some lady tried to run over an ICE agent.
Yes, Renee Good.
They shot her and they killed her.
Yes.
Now, I have a question for you.
All right.
Everybody's upset about that.
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about it.
She was a lesbian, I think, too. Whatever. The point is they shot and killed her. Why? Because she tried to run somebody over. They should have just made her stop. She tried to run somebody over, then run away. Now, you explain to me, now I understand that. The license plate, they could have captured her later on. But this lady tried to run over a cop. You tell me, I mean, the guy has to defend himself and shoot. Maybe he should have jumped out of the way. But again, you can't be attacking not only police officers, anybody with your car and then think you can get away with it. And if you didn't kill them, we'll arrest you later on. Yeah. That's wrong. It's 100% wrong, you know?
Yeah, I think if a police officer tells you to stop, you have to stop.
There was two people were protesting and attacked ICE agents in Manhattan about a couple of months ago.
I saw that.
And they were charged with felony. And now the city of New York, they're lowering it from a felony to a misdemeanor. Again, we're giving in to the leftist thing, you know. They all said that they can fix, what's called again, Rikers. Rikers is out of complete control.
We have said on this show in the past, they want Rikers for one reason only, the real estate.
So I want to tell you something. We pretty much spoke about that there's no justice in New York City.
Yeah.
And again, you guys asked for Mamdani. You guys asked for him.
Yeah.
What do you want me else to tell you about it? There's nothing
I told you that you were talking about the landlords talking to you, and there was issue after issue, and it's what people voted for. Also, Daniel Sweet said, Heshy, I need your blessing. And thank you, Infinite Justice. The Macho Man Randy Savage's brother was Lanny Poffo. And also, Rafi King is here. Hi, holy...
Rafi King is here.
Rafi King is here.
I love Rafi King.
And also wants to say, hi, holy dear real brother Heshy, open and close quotes. Keep up your amazing. We love Yo and fully supporting you.
He's a big Trump supporter.
And it's Chaplain Rafi King.
Chaplain.
Yes.
Not only here, but he joined the Israeli chaplain. He was giving out food during the war, went into sites, cooking for the people.
That's great.
He helps the poor here in New York. Rafi, you're a good man, and I wish I was half the man you are. No, really.
No, you are. You'll tell. Also,
Superfly
wanted to say, what happened to the lady's dog? I don't know.
Which dog?
Renee Good. I'm telling
Oh
you.
yeah, they didn't kill the dog.
That's a John Wick reference there, but
I know,
nevertheless.
I know.
But, yes.
Okay, let's get to business.
All right.
The Senate stopped. They tried to stop Trump from going to war when it's needed.
Yes.
Okay.
A war powers resolution to limit Trump and ability to use
thank God it didn't
military
pass.
force.
Oh, if there's something danger, of course that to declare war on another nation, I understand we need the permission from Congress and the Senate. But to do something like what Trump did, I don't think was a war thing. He went to capture a drug dealer from another country. That wasn't war. He went to Venezuela because we left. You're right. When we go back and take over Venezuela, but we're working with that's if you know.
Well, I think the thing that was interesting about this war powers resolution, which was a Democrat resolution, it was the Kaine resolution, Tim Kaine, senator in Virginia, and what was interesting to me about this was there was 5 Republicans that were actually supporting this resolution, which would limit President Trump's ability here to use military force. And one of those senators,
he's allowed to use military force if it's needed.
Well,
That's
the
why
Senate was trying to limit it, but I think
how many presidents, when we're attacked, sit in that little war room that we don't know about, and you know that hidden room in the basement, you see it on TV,
right?
And they attack other nations, or they have black ops, you know, they're attacking people. We have the Navy SEALs and all that stuff. I mean, Osama bin Laden. I mean, if you want to talk about that, they went into another country and captured Osama bin Laden in Pakistan in hiding and then killed him.
Yep.
Nobody said a word about that. Matter of fact, they said, good job.
Well, you know why they didn't say anything? Because who was the person that did that? Barack Obama, who was a Democrat. That's why it was a Democrat. But I think it's interesting, going back to this war powers resolution, is that it was Republican senators that were joining in with Democrats, and ones that I would not have expected. Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Senator Young in Indiana, and Josh Hawley in Missouri. You know, it's one thing if it's Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski. I get that. They're probably the most liberal senators the Republicans are going to elect. But when you talk about senators from Missouri, Indiana, even though Rand Paul is a little bit libertarianish, that to me was the most interesting thing, that this would have actually been defeated. But what wound up happening was Senator Hawley and Senator Young wound up changing their mind, as originally they supported this resolution to come to a vote.
Good. Well, you know, I want to get back to Adams getting upset. You know, I go visit people, and I was at a visiting site where one of the grandchildren of the people where I visited started to make comments and insult. You know how it is, and I then comment. You know me, I'm a great debater. I fight that. And he
I didn't think you were a good debater. I didn't think you spoke. I thought you were soft-spoken. You were shy, humble.
And I said, well, when you overshout and scream, you know, you're trying to put your opinion. And I said, this is America. I can say whatever I want. He says, no, you can't. You can't talk bad about people. I said, I can talk bad if somebody I feel is doing bad. And he started shouting, and like he tapped me on the head like he thought he could hit me. And I didn't want to say nothing because there was a lot of people around. But again, you know, you don't threaten to beat somebody up because he has an opinion or say something.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of bullies out there. There's so many bullies out there. I get insulted and heckled all the time, so I wasn't scared.
And also,
about it
I want to thank you, Finna, just for bringing this up. That I bet you didn't know this, which I did know, was that the Macho Man Randy Savage was actually part Jewish. On his mother's side, his mother was Jewish.
By the way, my nephew, Kevin, is going out with this young girl, and she's from Venezuela. Very nice girl, and pretty. Okay. And he just got engaged to her. Okay. And she was a Trump hater. And now, and the reason, whatever, because Democrat. Okay. And now, after what Trump did in Venezuela, she says, I now switching to the Republican Party, and now I love Trump.
You know,
you have to do something for somebody. No, you have to see who that person is.
Well, that's like Reagan years ago with the whole thing with Russia, right? A lot of the Russians that wound up coming to America in the 80s and the 90s are almost all universally Republican. That might be the same thing with those that are in Venezuela, that eventually they may wind up becoming, you know, conservatives.
Well, I'm hoping Venezuela, they let a few political prisoners out of Venezuela, but there's so many more that are still there. Why aren't they releasing all these political prisoners?
Well, speaking of that, I mean, we got to talk about Iran. Yeah. The political prisoners.
And Iran is going in the streets and shooting their protesters.
They've killed
Now,
2,400 of them already.
Right, 2,400. Now,
Yeah.
we were all screaming about Israel killing
Yes,
Palestinians.
you and I had this conversation before we went on the air.
They're killing Palestinians in the street. They were defending themselves.
Right.
Now, now within a few days, Iran has not only shut off the electricity, not
Yep.
only shut off
Internet.
the internet, but is going in the streets and have shot 2,400 people doing a peaceful whatever. It's not so peaceful. I don't know if Iran, the people can take over this country because, I don't know, even if the Shah comes back, the old Shah's son.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to have enough backing in the army, but he's got to get rid of that whole government.
Well, there was
I think he'll be corrupt there as well.
So what do you know what? And I'm glad that you brought this up. But if you're
I
here,
hope he promises, like he says, democratic elections.
and if you're here right now, you want to give us a call and talk about it. I'm going to say it one more time: 646-974-1580. Give us a call here on the Justin F. Heshy Show. The producer is waiting for phone calls.
Or you can just text or email.
Yes, text and email. But I do want to ask you. Considering what's going on here, we know what happened several months ago. We thought we got rid of the nuclear weapon that Iran was having.
Yeah.
So what do you think the solution is right now in Iran? What do you think?
What President Trump has to do is he should have sent in a SEAL team and kidnapped Khomeini, kidnapped their presidents. I mean, yeah, we bombed them up, but this is their president or whatever, their foreign minister, one of their leaders said, we're going to kill President Trump, and we're not going to miss this time.
Yep, and also Netanyahu was also brought up that they were going to kill Netanyahu as well.
So they declared war on us.
Yeah.
So if they declared war, Trump doesn't even have to go to Congress for anything. He can just fight back. They declared war on America.
Yeah, I think obviously right now, President Trump is certainly looking at the situation.
It's not like Tom and me threatening somebody. It's a country that declared war on our president, threatened to kill us.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of radicals there. One of two of them or 10 of them might say, you know what, I'm going to defend my country and go kill Trump and Netanyahu.
So do you think Iran still has a nuclear weapon? Well, I asked you this question months ago.
I believe that Iran nuclear facilities were damaged and destroyed. But they, how much destruction could have they done? They damaged it, and they said they can rebuild it. And they do have other locations as well, smaller locations.
So you think then that President Trump has information that they have some type of nuclear weapon still, or some type of...
They still have nuclear capabilities.
Yeah.
Just that the timeline is they were very few months away of starting it, has now been kicked back to maybe 2 or 3 or 5 years. But they have the...
I think it's sooner than that.
Right, because they have the process, they have the fuel that they've already, whatever they've done to make it to a higher grade.
Yeah.
So they're there already. You're right, their plants have been destroyed, their bomb might have been destroyed, but to rebuild a bomb and stuff like that, as long as their fuel has been to the instead of nuclear for electricity or energy, they I forgot what it is.
Well, Lindsey Graham came out earlier today and said that, and he is one of the most hawkish senators around. He said that he thinks that President Trump should do something with Iran sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
that was his words.
What I hear from inside is, there's a lot of Jews in Iran. Now, I'm not talking secular Jews.
Right.
The Iranian government does allow a whole Jewish community. I know one of my daughter-in-law's parents went to Iran. I don't even know why, but he went with a South African passport. And he says there's religious Jewish community that looks like a borough park community in Israel.
Wow.
I'm not talking secular. They have black hats and suits and very religious. So there's a whole community, like 500 families or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So I think what I heard was they're in hiding and they're all nervous.
Well, and that's a great point, because also
Because I believe the people that are protesting for their freedom are not even asking for the freedom for everybody, just for, themselves.
Yeah.
But they don't know what it was to be raped, robbed, taken away everything from them. I don't know. And how are we going to let their army stay in power after all the stuff they've done over the last 50 years?
I think that's a good point. And I think that a lot of this is to blame with Obama, because we knew this was going on since Ahmadinejad, and Obama just sat on his hands and now
gave money away.
Gave money away, and almost he just didn't want to do anything with the problem. So I think that's another point to make.
Trump, they've already confiscated oil from Venezuela. They got like a couple.
Well, somebody in Iran had said there was a word. It was somebody, I forget, was it somebody there had said that he thinks that the Iranian government has met their match in President Trump. It goes back with George Bush. Right. That goes back with Obama and Biden.
I always told you, Iran is just big talkers, and nobody did anything about it, so they kept talking big like a bully. But once you knock the bully down, there's nothing that you see.
They are aligned with Russia and China.
Again, Russia and China want their feet in the Middle East. They don't have Saudi Arabia anymore, okay? They don't have
I don't think they ever had Saudi Arabia.
They did. They had a lot of the Arab countries. They had Egypt. They had Syria. Now they don't have that. Okay, so they need to be there. Like America needs a foothold in the Middle East. You can't have Lebanon anymore. Lebanon is gone.
But what do you say though that we've been in this problem, and Donald Trump originally years ago said he didn't want to have anything to do with this, and now we're basically going back, some would say, on what Donald Trump, when he was first elected back in 2016, did not want to do. This is stuff. Now, what would you say to what people are saying? What Donald Trump is doing is essentially what George Bush is doing.
No, he's not. He's not spending money there. He's making money. In Venezuela, he made a couple of $100
Venezuela is different than Iran. There are two different situations. You cannot compare.
Okay, with the tariffs from all over the world, over $200 billion plus
tariffs in the Supreme Court right now.
It doesn't make a difference.
They're going to court.
Money is coming into the United States budget, and our deficit.
That has nothing to do with Iran. You can say
whatever you want.
It's nothing to do with Iran.
Said it would fail. I got that with Iran.
I'm asking you about Iran. I'm asking you right now. I'm not saying that I disagree, but
Iran is an issue that has just the people are finally. I don't believe it's gonna. The truth of the matter is, I hope Iran is taken back by the people. I hope.
Do you trust them though to do that though?
The point is they were always weak. They all gave into Sharia law, and now while their families are being raped and robbed,
12,000 people have been killed out there.
Okay, so you're just talking that. And people are being convicted and executed for political. So people are tired. You know, you only need a few to lead the revolution. The point is, like Tiananmen Square in China, sooner or later these Iranians are going to give up because they're having a good time now. The students, they think they can take over the government like in 1979.
Right.
It was a bunch of students that did it.
Yep.
Somehow the Shah ran away and the people gave in. And they had a big military then. I don't know what happened with the Shah.
Well, I think that there's
This military is vicious.
Now,
they shoot people.
7 countries have told people to avoid going to Iran.
Of course.
7 countries.
I would have. Why would you ever go to Iran at all?
That's a good point.
Why would you go to Iran?
I agree with you on that, but does that tell you that something imminently is coming? If 7, including the United States.
Well, they told people during the Palestinian war with Israel, don't go to Israel. And people went. I went during the war.
I know you did. Yeah, I do remember that. But this is different. But this feels different, though. This just feels different.
When there's violence in a country, you don't go to it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know, there was a reporter many years ago when Egypt was having their problems with the Brotherhood. And a reporter went into the fire,
yes.
They were doing that.
Right.
They grabbed her, they raped her, they beat her, you know what I mean? So I have a question for you. I understand reporters have to go into military zones and so on. Mm-hmm. But if you're going into a danger zone, be careful or be more careful or have more protection or spend more money to protect yourselves. Just walking in there and thinking that both sides are going to accept you because you're the press or you're
some people are just, they're
stupid.
exactly.
The United Nations. Why do you think a lot of times the United Nations gets away with stuff? Because really they have people on the
United
other
Nations
side.
is basically an enemy of the state. Infinite Justice makes a good point. You can't foster a democratic election for people who've never had it before. Constitutional monarchy with a firm hand is the best for them right now.
Right. I want to ask you a question.
You want to ask me a question?
Go back.
I want to hear
I had to take, my sister wasn't feeling well.
I'm sorry to hear.
So I took her to the doctor.
Okay.
And I sat down with the doctor. She had some kind of flu.
Okay.
And before we started talking, she needs antibiotics. She needs some kind of a shot. I said, 1 minute, doc. 3 years ago, we had COVID running rampant.
Yes.
Somehow, in a miracle, we cured COVID across the board.
Right.
But the flu is still there. Esther has one.
I'm glad you brought that up.
So he says, yeah, she has the flu. I said, well, maybe she has COVID. No, there's no more COVID. I said, how is that possible that we were able to stop the COVID and not the flu? Most probably this miracle vaccine.
They say this flu is out of control and that people in the hospitals have to wear masks again.
Then, it was the flu. And I bought antibiotics for my sister. I found something else that she needs something. But again, that's it. Plain and simple.
Do you get the flu shot every year?
I used to get it.
I don't get it.
I used to get it because my children made me. And now my son, because of the babies, now my son apologized. plus I also go to the hospital. But again, I never needed it, and I don't believe
I was in the
side
hospital a
effects.
couple weeks ago, and I did notice people were wearing masks. My mother was in the hospital for a brief check, which she thought was going to have a
I want
stent.
you to know the hospitals are a dirty place.
They're
Even
very
though
dirty.
They look clean, but
They're
there's
very
so
dirty.
much disease in the wall. They don't know how to run a hospital.
Just like what we talked about last week with Mamdani's.
I know how to run one. I know how to run a business. I know how to run a restaurant. But there's only so many hours a day, and I'm running the business that I'm
I know
running
the
and I'm
feeling.
happy with, even though I'm sometimes get exhausted.
But I think
and
just to go
tired.
back on what you said about the flu, they're talking about this super flu, and the flu cases have been now we haven't seen in years. And then what do you expect people to do? Walk around with masks again? Are you asking for people to what? I was talking with one lady yesterday. I'm in Manhattan, right? One of my jobs, and I'm in, right on 44th Street, and I'm talking to this lady. And, I'm sitting here, she's sitting there. We're not near. And she goes, I really just don't want to get sick with the flu. And I was in a bar or whatever, and I was going like this the whole time. Are we really
Why
that
are you going
worried?
to the bar?
That's what I was saying to myself.
Plus the
You're going to
liquor
a...
you kill.
Yeah.
By the way, Mamdani did comment on the Iran crisis.
All right, what did he say?
Now, he says they shouldn't be killing people. But why aren't you protesting in front of the Iranian embassy? Why aren't you arresting all Iranians that come to this country committing the crime of allowing the soldiers to kill
Why do you
people?
think he's not doing that?
Right.
Because he supports them. He supports them.
Right, so he made a stupid comment. I'm telling you now, you guys asked for
Look
this
at
to
even
make-
what he did with the whole thing. I think we briefly touched upon it last week, where the police can't do nothing now when we have protests in front of houses of worship. That's a terrible thing, because we know all the hate crimes, all the anti-Semitism that's been on the rise the last few years. That was one of the few things that Eric Adams did to protect people, not just of the Jewish community, but from all places of houses of worship.
People question me, he says, why are you already on top of Mamdani? He just took over to be mayor. I said, when Trump became president, the third day already, people were already...
Oh, no. Before that, I remember I was in Manhattan. No. The day after the I'd never forget, I actually was working, and I had a job like on the same side of the street as the Trump Tower. I will never forget it till the day I die. That day, they were already protesting Trump. No, people did not wait until January 20th, all right?
So, again, this guy took over mayor. When you start a job, you have to start...
And also Magical Me 420 says, good evening, Uncle Heshy. Getting better every day, guys. Thanks. Hope all is well tonight.
Well, something happened to my Instagram again.
Well,
Looks like-
it's your phone battery has died.
But
That's what it
not
is.
why it should stop, but okay, I don't know.
But if you do want to call, you got one more shot, 646-974-15. And if you want to email us and tell Heshy what a great job he's doing and why the Republicans are clowns for backing Yeager and probably backing Cholera Sutton, that's justenoughheshy@gmail.com.
Right, I mean, listen, I hear the story. People say, a lot of people were telling me, I voted for you, run again, keep up the good work. I said, don't you think that my time is important? My family, they just think that I'm one of their servants or when they're in trouble because they can get stuff done. I had a guy called me today. He has a problem with his... his daughter's Social Security.
Okay,
whatever.
that's not good.
That she needs that, whatever, and they took it away from her. And they keep going to the Social Security office, and they keep telling him to bring more documents and more documents. And then I told him, give me the list of stuff, and I'll help you. And the point being is forget the red tape that he's going through.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Where were you before? He's from the Syrian
I told you
community
that
as well.
before. That I've told you that many times.
Again, I don't mind helping you. I want to help you. But again, don't you think that I have a life? Don't you think that I have family as well? You're right. I'm committed when I promise to do a job. Like when I take on a client that's in trouble, I make sure to, I have now a client that usually I'm very good with solving problems.
Yep.
Takes 3 months, 6 months, 7 months. I have one particular client that's really a year and a half.
That's a long
And
time.
I just can't get him to the finish line. And finally, today we got good news that on January 22nd, we're going to have the final inspection to get him up and running.
All right.
He's excited. And he says, hey, she's taking so long. I said, you put me in a very bad situation. But if you noticed, I always pick up your calls. I always called you back. I always came to the inspections. I always updated you. So he says, yeah, you've always been there for me. You've never let us go. And I said, yeah, you've gone other places. They can't do what we did. Or they can do what we do.
Yeah.
I have a synagogue in Flatbush that went to another architect.
Okay.
And this guy charged him money, screwed him. So I'm trying to work with this architect to get him to the next level. And I'm not charging them yet. I'm going to charge them once I get the job open for the next phase.
But you want to get them there
And I
first.
went back to the old architect, and and they keep calling me, and I say to them, look, I know that I'm committed to you. I just hope that when I get you up and running, that you're committed to me. You know, I have another guy that got in trouble, took all my information, went somewhere else. Now he came back to me the other day, Heshy, I'm coming back to you, write it up again. I said, I'm not going to waste my time with you. I said, I know you, and then Penny comes screaming, we don't want your business. So when Penny, my partner, said that,
Yes, I know Penny.
I actually don't like my partner, so I actually said, I'll take your business.
I hope he's not listening. He heard
I
that.
tell it to his face all day long.
Well, I hope
hate
he
you.
didn't hear that just now for our
You know,
worldwide
I
audience.
was eating Chinese food I ordered.
Okay.
And when I walked out for a couple of minutes, he hid my Chinese food. He said, it's no good for you. I said, I paid $19 for it, you bad
It
guy.
better be good though. But also, Magical Me wants to say Miss Rachel and Mamdani singing "If You're Happy and You Know It" with the kids was weird.
Yeah.
It's a good point. That's a very good point.
Well, my dear friends, I know one thing.
What?
The city is not lost. Mamdani cannot destroy it. He will hurt us. I have a lot of landlords that are hiding their money and ready to stomp on all us little guys when we lose our buildings.
You will.
I have a lot of tenants that are already calling me to say, do I have to pay rent? Is there a way that I could get my rent lowered? Is there a way I can look at the laws? And you know, everybody's trying to use this gimmick.
Yeah.
When, you know,
I even heard my mother
you're living
today
in
talk
my
about
house.
this. It's
Why
funny
don't
you said
go,
that.
When you go to a restaurant, why do you have to pay for the food? You know what I mean? It should be for
Doesn't
free.
it cost something?
Right, it doesn't. Right, you don't have to pay for it. These people worked hard to build their building.
Absolutely.
Or build hard to work hard to save money to buy a building to live in, so they can make an extra income on the side. Otherwise, they can have a whole big mansion like Oprah Winfrey. You know, I wish that I could live in a whole big house. I know that it's tight, so I have a 3-family home where I rent out a portion of it so I can supplement my income and taxes on water and sewer. Don't you think I want to live on 3 floors and have you know, big gigantic bathtubs and not share a bathroom?
So you're not Mamdani? We get a rent stabilized apartment?
Yeah. You know, me and Linda have to share. We have 2 bathrooms, one for the main house and one our private room.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, Linda messes up the bathroom.
You said that.
I get
didn't.
angry with her. You know what I mean? I say, Linda, don't use my bathroom. She says, it's my bathroom too. You know. And my point, I'm just trying to say, you know, I'd love to have a house with 5 bathrooms. I'd love to have 12 bedrooms.
I don't think you'd want 12. You know what? People say that,
I know.
and they say when they get mansions, oh, I don't think you do. You get lonely, you get bored, you need too much space.
Well, when you have too much space, the whole objective of space
but you
is
have
to
12
have more people come over.
Yeah, but 12,
you have people coming
but you're
over,
not going to
family
have
and
them every
relatives.
day. You're not going to have them every day.
No, I have a lot of people coming, especially my family growing. I can't have them over
your family
every day.
is growing.
But I can't have them over every day because the apartment
But you know,
is small.
Superfly makes a great point. We were talking about this, and I was talking about this with my mother earlier in the day, is that her parents have a 6-family building, which is probably like a lot here in southern Brooklyn, whether it's Bensonhurst, Borough Park, Midwood, Flatbush, Gravesend, you know, Dyker Heights, is that she has her family has a 6-family building that was given to them by her grandparents, but they're scared. Why? Because they know now that they can't sell it.
Correct.
Because they know that the nonprofit gets it first.
I've been chasing a building for 2 years.
Okay.
And Lou helped me get it.
Yes, I know Lou.
6-family building, well run. One of them is going to be a vacant apartment. And I bought it. And I didn't pay below market value. I
paid market value.
I gave my price.
Right.
He gave his price.
But you won the right to get it.
And I won, and he was very nice. He helped me get it. We're going through the process. Now, all of a sudden, some people heard of what I'm doing with another building. So I had a brand new building in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And
I was in Greenpoint. There's buildings everywhere.
So brand new building, and I took applications. I had people from the homeless projects call me up, people from special programs.
Right.
And I reviewed their applications, and I said, do you guarantee they'll pay the rent? Do you guarantee they'll keep the place clean? Well, you know, you can't be prejudiced. You have to look at everybody's application.
Right.
I said, right, but if you're going to mess up my place, I don't want you in my building. No, you have no right to. Anyways, I took in 5 beautiful people. I took in a single teacher that needed it with a kid. did. I took in a nice young black couple that was having a baby. Wonderful people. So I did very nice across the board. I had 2 Hispanic families. So one of the apartments was vacant. And a rabbi calls me up and says, Heshy, I need you to take this homeless guy in. Now, I used to be nice to this homeless guy. He was on the street. I used to give him $20. I was very good to him.
Very nice of you.
I did always was nice to him over the years.
That $20 you're going to give to the producer after the air.
Right. But I always, over the years, not only $20, but every time I went to the restaurant. Yeah. And I always used to see, he used to collect $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 at the end of the week.
Yeah.
But he kept abusing the money, and I saw he did drugs. They called me up, Heshy, he cleaned his act up, you got to give him the apartment. I said, he has no credit history. If he messes up or, there's nothing.
You have no bank account, no information.
We guarantee it. Not only did they stop guaranteeing after the first month, the man destroyed the place, brought in his cousin, called the city army 100 times, brand new, causing damage, breaking. He lost his key. He broke open the mailbox and called HPD. His mailbox is broken. I got a violation. I said, look, I have a video of him getting the key.
You knew it was going to happen. That's what happened.
Finally, we got rid of him.
Right.
That's a lot of money. We ended up getting paid back some of the money from the city. I got him on programs. Filthy dirty. Then he calls me up. He wants to rent again. Says, I apologize, Heshy, what I did to you.
Well, with Mamdani, let me see him again.
The word went out that Heshy, takes in homeless people. He has a special building for it. Another homeless guy just met me and called me up. He says, Heshy, I get some Social Security. I have a trust fund. Please take me in. I said, why are you homeless then?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to pay so high rent. I said, understand. You know that you are rather to be homeless and dirty than to pay rent, which means that if I take you in, you're going to find a way to screw me as well. Hey, you got to help me. I said, but you're in your synagogue. You have your community. We heard you have a building. I said, I did this once before, and I can't do it again. I'll take people in from jail. They know what their rules are. I know their history. I know how to get them on services, and I check them out. Right. But I'm sorry that people that have messed up and don't have a plan or don't want to get a job or think they're going to get freebies all over the place and don't have an idea, I'm sorry, I'm going to help you, but then they want me to help them find an apartment and screw one of my other landlords. I can't.
That's
now, I do help them sit down and fill out the application, and if they can get their Section 8 or government funding, a voucher, like I just did with a young couple now. I had a couple in East New York. I bumped into a nice young couple. Matter of fact, he was Asian and she was black, and they were having problems and were in a homeless shelter. And I helped them fill out their forms. I got them in the voucher program. They were getting $2,700 a month from the city. And boom, yes, I did recommend them to one of my landlords, sent them out and got them an apartment because their rent is guaranteed. But now they have to continue doing their paperwork. And they are a very nice thing, and they have a baby now on the way. My point I'm trying to make to you is that if you're not going to be responsible and you're not going to put in the effort, then no, I don't want to help you. I don't want to be part of your team.
And Superfly wanted to say that she's looking for a normal tenant for a 1-bedroom. I told her to email me and email you. Yeah. And
but my application process is not simple.
It's for family.
According to the law, I can't check your credit history at criminal.
And Daniel Sweet says, what about a 2-bidet for Gracie Mansion?
What?
A 2-bidet for Gracie Mansion. It just sounded funny. And I don't see...
Oh, a 2-bedroom and Gracie Mansion.
Oh, maybe that's what he meant to say. 2-bedroom, but that would be funny. That would be very funny because Mamdani is living there now.
He's living in... He has a lot of bedrooms now? He lived in a studio apartment.
Are you moving in? I mean, Anthony Finkel said he was taking you out to Essen last week. You may be getting a chance, to go to Gracie Mansion. Maybe you and Linda moving in?
Yeah. Sure.
Why not? Why not? By the way, I want to talk about Hochul. Speaking of Hochul, there was a poll that
she has a whole. By the way, before you talk about the poll, she has a bunch. Did you hear the State of the Union address? She has so many different things that she's proposing.
I know.
And I bet you when the new budget comes out, when the proposal comes out next week, she's not going to keep any of her word, and she's going to throw it down the line to the future. She can talk and talk and talk, and she's never going to come through. You watch. Just like Mamdani. He's not coming through.
Well, it's a good point you make, because I think Hochul's doing everything she can to bend over backwards
But she didn't bring up the free buses and the free grocery stores.
Because it's not happening.
Right.
It's not happening. But what she's doing is she's trying to walk this tightrope to do everything she can to bend over backwards to show that she's with Mamdani, but she can't go full
just to get elected one more time. She's not going to get elected after that again.
Yeah.
Now, you did say there's a poll. First of all, there's a funny poll between Kamala Harris and J.D. Vance.
There was a poll that came out, and it said that Kamala Harris was beating J.D. Vance by like like 5.5 points
God
already.
help me. Nobody's voting for Kamala Harris again. I mean, again, Democrats do vote Democrat.
Yeah.
Will the Democratic Party...
A lot of Democrats in this country,
will
man.
Democrats nominate Kamala over Gavin Newsom?
I don't even know if it's going to, be Gavin Newsom, period. I mean, it's still a lot of time left. I mean, they polled Josh Shapiro one, which was never happening. I mean, Josh Shapiro, they polled him. I think it was Pete Buttigieg. I mean,
Pete Buttigieg has no chance.
No.
A.O. Smith is going to run for the senatorship, which if she does run, I am going. That one I'm going to run. I don't need the Republican Party.
No, you don't need the Republican Party
I'm just going to do it myself and stand there. It'll be me and AOC. And whoever you pick, you want to pick stupidity, pick stupidity.
The Republicans would probably bring AOC to if they gave them $1,000, I'm sure that they'd show up because the conservatives would say, take the money. But, I do want to thank our audience on the radio, the Talkline Radio Network, our flagship WSNR 620, WJPR 1640 in beautiful Miami, and also WNEW 1027 FM. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back here next week, and boy, Heshy is going to be fired up. Speaking of the radio, as the radio signs off, I heard this past week that Andrew Cuomo could be a competitor of ours. I heard that he could be going to WABC. What do you think about that? Could we be seeing him Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock, up against us? Zev Brenner now has to give us a lifetime contract for that, because if John Catsimatidis is thinking about putting Andrew Cuomo on the air,
he spoke bad about. He put up millions of dollars not to get him elected, and then boom, it says he switched sides to Catsimatidis.
Catsimatidis, another guy that who is a grifter, who runs the worst grocery stores in the world, the dirtiest ones. But apparently, he's going to put on one of the dirtiest politicians to ever run in Andrew Cuomo on his station.
You're not embarrassed of having a bad reputation, of doing bad things, and then we recycle them. It's like the dirty diaper joke I said. You're recycling these, they have to be changed.
But Cuomo, see, this is what I do. You
like me, the controversial. If they want me to go away. People keep coming to me.
But I made this point to you. I'm glad you said that. I made that point to you months ago, is that there's a double standard, because Cuomo is a murderer. The man is a murderer, but he gets embraced.
Yeah.
He gets embraced by conservatives who pop with a open and lowercase parentheses Ida Vernikova, the likes of John Catsimatidis.
Again, I want to bring that up again, Ida Vernikova. She is in Miami, what I understand, 8 months of the year. Now you're going to say, hey, it's not true. She had her father bought her an apartment over there. That people have seen her there many, many times.
Now you were down there, you would know.
Right now, worst case is she has a car that was towed for tickets over an 8-month period of time that she didn't pay. Because in New York City, she doesn't have to pay her tickets. Because she gets one of the government cars or government drivers.
Gets that place card, a government place card.
So she doesn't have to pay over there. In Florida, she does whatever she wants. So if she got 8 months worth of tickets, that means she's been down there for either a month at a time or 2 months at a time.
No, she did a whole year.
Yeah.
Hey, so are you implying that Ina Vernikova is not a resident of Brooklyn?
I'm telling you, forget that she's not a resident of Brooklyn. She's not doing her job.
No.
She has her assistants do it, like Simcha Felder. When you call his office, this guy Lenny Marks.
Oh, the guy that was going around challenging petitions.
He's a hateful little cockroach.
He's a district leader for a district that has just 2 voters in Brooklyn, himself and his wife.
Wow. Is that possible? He
registered himself to a rowboat house or something like that. It's a district that it's in Staten Island and Lower Manhattan, but it goes through like the Brooklyn water.
He lives there.
He claims that, but who really knows? I mean, he did that for the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party could have 2 votes for their executive committee.
Guys.
And by the way, Superfly said that her office is down the block from her and she's never there. Think about this. Superfly is in her district.
I'm telling you, she's never there.
I disagree.
She's busy or whatever at parties. My point is you never see her around, but when there's an issue that she has to comment on, I don't know. I really don't know.
It's a good point, but you know what? It's to me
you have to be constantly available. That's why I keep telling you, my office is open. Like today, people were just walking into the office, coming by. Of course, you go to the assistant, the secretary. I let you in. I give you spots, but you have to be available if you want to do a job.
My phone's always on 24 hours a day. I know you're the same.
There was a restaurant a friend of mine bought, and I told him not to buy it. I said, you have to be there all the time. No, Heshy, it's well run, it's clean, it's beautiful. I said, no, if you don't run this restaurant, you're out of business. He was never there half the time. Of course he went bankrupt. Every business that you run, you have to be constantly there. Day and night. I wasn't feeling good a couple of days ago. I took off a couple hours.
Right.
Again, the whole business collapses around you. If you are the business, then you must be at the business. You can't let your employees do it. Your employees are there to help
I do
you.
want to bring up before we sign off here for the YouTube audience. There was a poll. Speaking of Hochul, I got to bring it up. It seems like Hochul is going to get 4 more years because it was 53 Hochul, 39 Blakeman.
Well, it's only the beginning of the cycle, you know what I mean? And Blakeman just joined the campaign. Blakeman didn't even advertise. He doesn't even have the signatures yet. So
He won't need signatures because they're just going to appoint him.
No, you still need to submit
No.
signatures.
So the way it works for a statewide convention,
Wow.
so he will get enough of the weighted vote that he won't even have to petition.
So then I don't have to petition either. If
You'd have to petition for
Why?
governor
not
because
governor, for a state senator.
it's 2 different laws. So a statewide race, the way it works is they take all of the district leaders, all of the county leaders, there's 62 county leaders, and they do what's called a weighted vote. So the weighted vote Blakeman will almost surely get all of that vote.
Wow.
And he won't even have to petition. Whereas for state senate,
But how
Congress,
come they put Nachman Collar in last time without petitions?
because that was a special election and that was to fill a term out. So the way a special election works in state offices, not city, they don't have to petition unless they want to do a third-party petition. So that's why Nachman Collar had to do no petitioning.
Wow. Again, game after game after
And
game.
also, I want to get Superfly's comment because she is hitting the nail on the head tonight. She was out there, get this, she was out there on election day telling people, but not even telling them, but begging people to vote for Cuomo. And she said, it's rigged. And how could that be? She's talking about that. It is rigged. And it's
Who was
unfortunate.
out there?
Ina Vernikova
Ina
was out
Vernikova,
on election day begging people to vote for Cuomo. By the way, she has her acolytes that are
she
in
knew
control of the
that
Republican
she-
Party who are voting for Kalman Yeager, who is supporting people that are going to block you from running.
Yeah.
I want to point that out. So right now, your problems are really to be fixed next year because the people that are in there now, they're Ina Vernikova loyalists. And the party chairman, he's with Ina Vernikova.
We're over 10 o'clock. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
Thank
And happy
everybody.
birthday coming up. Birthday day.
Yeah. How do you know?
Oh, I know things. Trust
I
me.
love you.
So you
me,
better
me and Linda.
you better make sure for your birthday. Are you going
We're
to
going
Aston?
to Aston.
You better make sure.
Maybe not. Maybe the kids will treat me somewhere different.
Producers here, are you implying that the producers should buy you a roast beef
I don't
sandwich?
want to. They're going to try to take me to a fancy restaurant and spend
No,
more money.
Aston's a great place to
Yeah, a
go.
great meal.
You
There
should
was-
have the producer take
How
you
many
out.
sandwiches and things can you eat? I went to a wedding
2.
yesterday.
I say 2
They had
most.
a beautiful schmorg. After my plate was full, I was full. I wish I could have more stuff. I just couldn't. Everything looked great.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Play
Thank you,
that
everyone.
music.
Thank you. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Wednesday night, we're all in sight. 9 o'clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough Heshy takes flight. Woo! Laughs and wisdom side by side. Heshy show won't be denied. Tune in live and ride the tide. Feel the rush and feel the pride. It's just enough Heshy. Wanna vote for Heshy? It's just enough Heshy. Join the crowd, it's messy. Wednesday night, we're all in sight. 9 o'clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough Heshy takes flight.